Hey everyone, I am Rabbit and welcome to episode 122 of Let's Play Jade Cocoon 2. So we are back at Lilith's nest number 2 at the point where we are ready to advance to Lilith's nest number 3. So I ran back through, killed everything, I showed you where we were at in terms of health and mana. Everyone's looking pretty good with the exception of Sierra. So let's go ahead, get the party rolling, and head into Lilith's Nest 3. So, I cannot believe we are... Oh my goodness, I did not even see that creature there. I cannot believe we are this close to the boss. It looked like this was the final island before we hit the boss area. So, I don't know, you guys. We might end up having the final confrontation as a part of this episode. Maybe there will be a lot of bullshit going on in Lilith Nest 3, so we won't actually have an opportunity to even hit up the final island until the upcoming video. I don't know. We will have to see. And really, what are you douchebags even doing? As far as a recap of our previous video together, nothing too exciting went down. We ran through Lilith Nest 2, took out some more ferocious familiar faces of old bosses we had encountered in the various elemental areas. And that was pretty much it. Nothing very exciting. But that's okay. Our beasts are kicking ass and taking names, which is all I really wanted. Long ago, I felt like I didn't have a full grasp of merging and how to effectively arrange my amulet, but I think we've got it down now. It's so crazy to me to look back at old episodes and look at my old formations and just see what a terrible job I did. Like, if you look at our beasts like Buddy, for example, he is on his 5th merge, but has still, like, a C and B. I think he's C and B rank skills, which, I mean, okay, I guess you can argue I didn't get access to a lot of the upper ones until later, so I was kind of forced to do a lot of cross-merging or re-merging or just leaving people behind, and I didn't wait until they were at level 20 before I merged them, so I would always merge as soon as they hit level 15. So it was kind of crazy. I don't think I took full advantage of the merging system or the leveling system, but you know, I was playing this semi-blindly for you guys, so you gotta give me credit where credit is due. I did my best, and I got my shit together before we got too deep into the game, which is good enough for me. So poor Merrick, I'm going to have to idle on this side for a little bit so Sierra can get some of her mana back, which is okay. I think at this point she's a bit more important than he is because I need to get Ragulina, plus getting those heals. Very nice. Although Kahu can heal, which we discovered 2 videos ago, and someone, and I am so sorry I cannot remember your name, but I'm sure, you know, if you guys want, just look back to maybe 3 videos ago and scroll through the comments. And somebody was kind enough to point out to me that when Kahu does his restoration ability, it heals our team, but it also removes one of my shields, which I don't know how I didn't recognize that was happening. I guess I was just so excited about the fact that Kahu himself could cast a very minor heal. I mean, it's not anything to write home about, and it's not something that I would use except in a pinch or just to herp derp around. But it takes a shield, so you'll have to think about it, you know? Is it worth it? Is it something you really want to do? I can see it being very effective in certain situations, but I probably won't be making too much of a use of it unless I need to just stall on a side and I can use the heals. But so far, people dying from a lack of heals has not been a humongous problem for me. Running out of mana has been more of a consistent issue throughout my playthrough, which is why I had mana restoring abilities for so long. But, you know, I only have so much room, you know, and I absolutely wanted to make sure that my water side had some offensive capabilities because I spent so long without that. Pretty much since I had gotten rid of Patrick, I wasn't really doing much with my water side in terms of dealing damage. So I thought, let's switch it up. You guys probably want to see more excitement going down on that side. Although I guess even now, it's not the most exciting lineup that it could be. But whatever, you know, I think I've done a great job with all the other elements, so Close enough, close enough. And these fights are going so quickly. Oh, really, you fucker? Alright, what I might do then, if this thing's going to be an asshole, I'm going to stay on this side for a little bit. Let Merrick and Prissy Pants both get up their mana. I might stay here 3 turns. Oh, you are not going to do this bullshit. Yeah, I think I'll give them 3 turns of restoring their mana, and then we should be able to spam through this thing's bullshit and maybe get poison applied. Nice try, though, my boy. Alright, last round of chilling on the water side. And Skill Bind does an okay amount of damage. I don't think it's the best spell, but it does what it needs to do. And pardon me. Oh, perfect. Can't ask for more than that, so I guess we'll finish it out on this side. Or actually, maybe I should rotate. We got what we needed done. He's stunned, he's poisoned. Gotta love the air side. Oh, yes. Feels so good. Oh, that damage. We might be able to kill this thing. Maybe. You did good work, Merrick. I wish I could have mouths just on every single corner of this. Or at least this specific model. You guys already know I'm not a fan of the green one. The hee-ha-ha or whatever the fuck it's called. I still think that thing is absolutely wretched. Although a lot of you seem to think it was endearing in a way. I don't know how you could think that, but I get it. I'm sure some of you think like Prissy Pants and Merrick look ridiculous, but I think they are both so cute. In particular, their form before this one, so form 2, for this Mal model, it's adorable. I think it's the cutest Divine Beast model in the game, or at least that we've seen so far. I'm pretty sure we've seen most of them, if not all. Obviously, there will be different color palettes. I'm of the mindset that for every single model, there is a color variation. I have yet to see it disproved, but then again, I haven't found all of them, so it is possible that if I did get 100% completion in terms of collecting all of the eggs in the game, maybe there would be one that doesn't have it. And I do know that there are some things that weren't fully added to... Why do they even do this? Just to fuck with you. That weren't fully added to the game. Like some things were not released, even though they're functioning fully. One moment, friends. I need to turn my head and cough. Oh my goodness, pardon me. But that comes back to what I had been talking to you guys about videos and videos ago, how there actually is a mod and a... I don't know if I want to call it a hack, although it is technically a hack, but it's not a hack in the sense that anyone really threw in exploits, but there was a team that did unlock, I guess, some of the stuff that was disabled in the game's actual release. So there was a comma, I don't remember off the top of my head which one it is, but there was a comma that was programmed to display somewhere, but you literally cannot find it in the legit copy of this game because the developers either overlooked that it hadn't been officially added or they didn't want it added for the... I don't know why, but it works and functions 100% properly. So these hackers, if you will, I say that in air quotes, or these developers, whatever you want to call them, ended up unlocking that. They unlocked the ability to access certain eggs that are either super rare or difficult to find. They just did a lot of stuff, which I think is pretty cool. So if you were looking to play this game and you don't have a legit copy, if I had known that this existed, I would have just emulated that instead of playing the legit version of the game, because everything else from what I've seen is the same. Like, they didn't scale anything in a broken way. I think they genuinely just tried to make it to where you have access to more things that the developers obviously originally wanted you to have access to, but it's one of the downsides of gaming in that era. You know, this came out in 2001, and yeah, there was internet access on the PlayStation 2, but they weren't really patching games like this, you know? So whatever was put on the CD that went out to the masses, that's what you fucking got, and you had to deal with it or, you know, take it back, I guess. But there weren't really re-releases or people sending out like manual patches or updates, I mean, that wouldn't be cost effective for them. So I think there is an advantage to having a lot of games connected to the internet so that if there are bugs, you don't have to worry about getting a game that years later people will give you full access to everything as you were originally intended to have access to. It's like you get everything and some things are broken, then hey, that's okay. Oh God, let me wait and try to turn around. That's okay because you'll get it later. Now the downside to that is that I think some developers have become too complacent with being lazy about their development. Cough, cough. EA with The Sims 4, where they release broken bullshit and hope that the name of the game will be enough to sell it, and then they just rely on patching things in later. So I think that sucks, and that's totally bullshit, because I feel like as a developer, you should make sure your game is pretty much fully functioning. If there's a bug or two, like, don't be an asshole. I'm speaking to the consumers, don't be an asshole and be like, oh my God, they're such trash, blah, blah, blah. People make mistakes, I get it. But I feel like legit some companies are totally fine now with releasing a game way earlier than it's meant to be just because they want to start getting money, and then they just have the mindset where it's like, oh, it doesn't matter because we'll just patch shit in later. And people, namely, I think newbie gamers or gamers that haven't really been around for that long or who don't play things for long term, they're more like short-term gamers or gamers that play casually, I guess is a nicer way of describing it, but you guys know what I'm saying. Gamers who are okay with picking up a game and playing for an hour a day or like 5 hours total in the week instead of actually consuming the game in its entirety in a very quick amount of time. I guess you could say they're not really huge gaming enthusiasts. They're just casual players. That's a nice, succinct way of putting it. I think that group of gamers has been on the rise lately, where gaming is no longer a nerdy thing to do, or it's not specific to one or two crowds of people. It's more open. There's a wider variety of games, which is wonderful, but I think with that comes a lot more complacency, because casual gamers aren't really the ones who are going to be as vocal about broken things being released. They're more likely to be the ones, like, let's say with The Sims 4, where they're like, yeah, it's broken, but I'm still going to continue to buy the pieces to make it a complete game, or I'm fine with pre-ordering and seasons passes, and I don't know, call me old school, but I feel like it is the developer's responsibility to release a full game as intended when it's time for it to go out and hit the shelves and be on the market. If I'm paying $60 for a AAA game, I expect it to be complete. I'm not expecting it to be perfect. It is okay to have a couple of bugs, but the game should be complete and able to stand on its own as I purchased it. I hate this trend now where everyone wants to throw in DLC. Not that I mind DLC. Guys, I'm a huge lover of the Sims franchise. I have everything for The Sims 1. I have everything for The Sims 2. I have pretty much everything for The Sims 3. I didn't buy, what was it called? Island Paradise, I think, was the absolute last expansion pack for it. I didn't buy that. And the Sims 4, or not Sims 4, the Sims 3 store content, I never really bought any of that bullshit. But in terms of the actual DLC releases, like in stores, so physical copies of things and not online DLC, I had almost everything for The Sims 3. And for The Sims 4, I now have pretty much everything as well, but not things that I purchased, things that have been gifted to me, or people who know how much I love The Sims 4, or not The Sims 4 specifically, but that I've loved The Sims and they want me to love The Sims 4. I've been gifted a lot of stuff for The Sims 4. I bought the base game and I was super pissed off about it. I didn't pre-order it because I've learned that I'm not giving money to anyone before I get the product. I want to see it, I want to see it be reviewed, and I want to know what I'm getting. And I didn't like that there weren't actual physical copies of the game. They made it to where when you buy it, it actually just links you to Origin and you download it. So you can't basically install it without internet access, which I also think is bullshit and a total scam. I'm just over I'm so over it, you guys. I'm incredibly salty about what happened with The Sims 4. And I will be the first to admit that I think it's better now. I recently was given Dine Out, which is one of the newer game packs. I think there's something else that came out in July that I don't have. I don't even know what it's called because I don't actively follow the releases anymore. Other people keep me up to date on what's going on with it. And I will say, from what I've played, and since I have pretty much everything, it's infinitely better than when it first came out. But I don't think that justifies the way that everything was handled and the way that it was released and how tailored the game is to more casual players. It doesn't feel like a sandbox anymore. And they charge so much money for the fucking base game, and it didn't have pools upon release and just basic things. The base games have always been a little lackluster compared to what they're like after you get expansion packs. But if you compare the base game of The Sims 4 to the base game of The Sims 3, or The Sims 2 especially, is my favorite out of all of the Sims versions. The Sims 4 was a broken, incomplete piece of garbage. And I don't care how big or loyal of a fan you are, you cannot deny that the Sims 4 base game was trash upon release. It was so bad. I didn't buy it when it first came out. I got it quite a while later after they had patched it and fixed some things, and I enjoyed it much more than what I knew people who had bought it upon its release or pre-ordered it. So I don't know why people still pre-order games or buy seasons passes. It's not worth it. I have not yet seen a reason to get a seasons pass or to pre-order a game unless you're some sort of big YouTuber or you work for a magazine or some sort of reviewing company that needs earlier access to where you can provide info to the masses about the game, so your initial thoughts or things like that. I don't see an advantage to why just a regular ass gamer needs to pay upfront for something that you don't even know how it's going to function. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But, you know, that's fine if that's what someone wants to do. If you want to keep giving these developers money for unfinished games, you know, be my guest. But I really wish gamers would kind of take a stand and be like, nope, we're not pre-ordering your shit. We'll play a demo. We'll see how it functions. But that's it. Like, and we don't want your bullshit DLC. I don't know. Rabbit is a touch salty about all of this, if you guys can't tell. It just drives me fucking nuts. But all of that is to say that if you are interested in The Sims, although I know this isn't directly related to my rant about pre-ordering and seasons passes and my saltiness about broken games, but I do want to come back full circle and say, if you are a fan of The Sims, I do think The Sims 4 is significantly better now, especially with some of the expansions and game packs. I think Get Together was a wonderful expansion pack. It did a lot for it. I don't think Get to Work was that good in retrospect. I think they still need to fix the retail, and there are a couple other things that weren't great about it. But if you buy Get Together, and I think the dine out is pretty good, having the restaurants, and there are a couple other like game packs and stuff that I would say make the game feel more complete and make it more enjoyable. But alright guys, we are pretty close to heading on to the boss. I'm thinking in our next episode when we get there, we'll either immediately get into the boss fight or maybe it'll make us run through Lilith Nest 4 and then we'll take a Princess Vine from there to the boss. I don't know how they're going to handle it, but I want to go ahead and just stop right here because we are so close to being up on time, and we will see what ends up happening in our upcoming episode. So thank you very much for watching. I am your host, Rabbit, and I look forward to seeing will the encounter with Levant take place? Gosh, guys, I can't believe it. We're so close. Let's see what happens soon.